Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather. Thanks for logging on to the latest long-range update. Lots of things to talk about here tonight, folks, but wow, nasty day out there today with kind of rainy in places, snowy in places, rain-snow mix in other places. That's all moving off to the east, nothing to worry about, but temperatures going to go down into the 30s again tonight. It's going to get just a little chilly over the area, but not a whole lot of other things to worry about tonight. It's going to be a pretty quiet day tomorrow, and that'll be good. Just not a whole lot of anything really out to our west setting in, except for high pressure. That'll be a good thing. A slight chance of a disturbance that's going to move down, and that disturbance is right up here in Canada. You can't see the radar view on it, but that will dive down here on Saturday, really Friday night, and bring us our next chance of precipitation. Not a whole lot in the way of precipitation coming up until you get to next week, and then of course once you get into next week, well, that's just going to be an absolutely different story. Let's go ahead and take a look at the GFS and see what we got going on. Here is that precipitation maker moving off. High pressure stays in charge there for tomorrow, and so we'll see some gradual clearing. Probably going to be pretty cloudy tomorrow morning, but as we head later on in the day, we should see those clouds start to thin out. Next precipitation maker, though, starts to dive down here, and by about, well, probably during the overnight hours and late early on Saturday morning is when we're going to see a little bit of rain move into the area, and it'll be a cold rain, but that moves out of there, and by the time the afternoon hits, it's gone, so not a whole lot there. High pressure becomes large and in charge then for rest of the weekend. Beyond that, though, we've got our next big weather maker that starts to affect us possibly on Monday night. And there it is. You can notice it up here down to our south, and you notice it's going to be a pretty big one as I put this into motion. Watch this. By the time you go into Tuesday, there's your first deluge, your rain coming. Your big rains really start to come in on Wednesday, and it's just rain after rain after rain with this. In fact, it looks like the south is really going to get hammered. They could end up getting a little bit of severe weather with this. Now, for us, severe weather probably going to be more of a limited thing, and of course that's a good thing, but certainly plenty of rain to come with this. Now, what's all going to happen with this? Let's go ahead and, if the page ever wants to load here, we'll take a look at the mid-level jet stream and you give an idea what's going on. What you see here is winds at about 40,000 feet, and well, let's just kind of mark it down on the map. What you've got right now, and I think that will kind of help to see what you've got is the mid-level jet stream sort of rolling like this, and it's a split flow. You've got two branches of the jet stream sort of going at it like this. We're kind of sandwiched in between here in Indiana at the this particular point in time, but we're in kind of the cold zone because you're on this northwest flow, so you got air from Canada that's flowing down into here and is causing some issues with that. But as we put this into motion, notice that's going to change. We stay chilly for a couple of more days here, but by the time Saturday comes, things are going to start changing. There's that northwest flow early on Saturday morning. But notice by the time you go into late Saturday and into Sunday, notice now you've got a ridge coming over you. That trough is going on. The jet stream starts to look quite a bit different. And then watch what happens here as we get later on into next week. By the time we come into Monday afternoon, we've got the Pineapple Express, the southern jet stream here, coming over and just screaming onto the shore here. It's going to bring a lot of moisture with it, and watch what it does is it just funnels this right over into our area. And what you're going to have go on, in fact, maybe if I just scroll down here a little bit, let me try to illustrate this for you to give you a little bit of an idea again what's going to be going on here. So essentially what you're going to have is a ridge of high pressure here down to our south, and remember, high pressure, it runs clockwise, so you're going to have a flow like this. At the same exact time, what you're going to have is a low pressure upper level low like this. Remember, winds run counterclockwise, so it's all working the same way to just funnel up all of this moisture from the Gulf of Mexico over us, and it's basically going to just send the deluge of precipitation. I would be concerned about some flooding, with some flooding issues next week with this. Now, severe weather, again, that might be somewhat limited out of this. The Storm Prediction Center, of course, has not issued anything for us yet. Now, as we head into Monday rather, as we head into Monday, there's a slight risk of severe weather kind of off to our west, and as you head in past that into Tuesday, they've outlined a severe weather threat down to our south on Tuesday. You get into Wednesday, and they're just saying predictability too low, and that's certainly understandable at this point. Way too many variables to figure that out. I wouldn't rule out a strong storm with this, but I don't think it's going to be an outbreak of epic proportions, at least for us. Down to our south, we certainly could see some stronger chances with us. What I think that we're going to see, certainly more than anything, is the heavy, heavy, heavy precipitation with this. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So here we are. We're looking at accumulated precipitation now. That's what QPF means. It's quantitative precipitation forecast. Amount of moisture that has rained out in the atmosphere. And so we're looking here by the time Tuesday comes. And let's just put this into motion and just watch the deluge come our way. By the time Wednesday morning comes, some places already got 1 to 3 inches of rain accumulated over the area, and it only gets worse. The rains just keep coming and coming and coming, and by the time everything ends late on Saturday, just check out the potential for what we can get here. This is, I mean, look at this, 6.4 up in Washington, 5 inches there of precipitation at Evansville, 2.5 inches there in Louisville, 4.5 all the way to Indy. So it's going to vary wide, of course, over the area. But what you've got is just an absolute deluge of moisture from the south streaming our way. So, of course, with that, I think would certainly come some flooding concerns. I would not be surprised at all to see some flash flood watches hoisted next week. That deluge looks to begin, well, the precipitation will start on Monday night, but it's really not going to end until Saturday. It's just going to be off and on rain, sometimes quite heavy at times. Well, obviously, it's going to be pretty heavy at times. If you're looking at really about a 5 to 6 inch precipitation event across the area, well, obviously that's what you're going to be looking at. Some flash flooding concerns certainly going to be real with that. Now, with that will come some warmer temperatures. That'll be one blessing with it. Say hello to the 60s, possibly even some 70s next week if we can get some breaks in the showers. That remains to be seen. I think I've got a 71 in the forecast. That might be shooting just a little bit too high. Some of the newest data has come in with upper 60s rather than that, but still it's going to be warm. Say goodbye to winter. Early spring is coming on. In fact, as far as the eye can see, what the ensembles are predicting is here all the way through March 18th. You notice 68 degrees. Our normal high temperature is not even at 50 yet. We're still in the upper 40s for where we should be at right now. So we're going to run potentially, 15 to 20 degrees above normal. And of course, that comes with the price with some heavy rains coming in there. So keep that in mind, folks. As far as temperatures go, the Climate Prediction Center agreeing with that 6 to 10 day temperature probability map showing really almost the whole nation above normal. You got to go out to the west before you start to see below normals, and really it only gets even better from there. Again, the 8 to 14 days showing that. Precipitation wise as well, above normal in both the 8 to 10 and 8 to 14 day, 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day precipitation. So it's going to be warm and wet, and all things are starting to agree on this right now. Now, as far as that goes, we can take a look at your forecast. Go to southernindianaweather.com. Click on your 10-day forecast, folks. Chilly tonight. Warms up a little bit tomorrow. Not all that much, but look at this. By the time you get into Saturday, get a chance of some showers Friday night. It's not a big chance, maybe about a 30% chance. It's not going to amount to a whole lot. By the time you get to Saturday, that'll clear out of here. You've got a nice day going on with mid-50s, close to 60 for Sunday. Then Monday into the mid-60s. Look at this. By the time you hit Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to be near the 70-degree mark. Again, I might be shooting a little high on this. I'm shooting a little bit higher than what the ensemble data is showing. I'm relying on some other data here. But nonetheless, I think that's certainly on the table. It's going to be warm no matter how you slice it. That comes with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. It's looking like a pretty good chance at this point. It's this far out, and I've already got 60 and 70% chances issued. Pretty confident that we're going to have some rain, and the rain lasts and lasts. Warm weather stays with it, though. We'll take the warm weather, but it's really going to be Saturday night before those showers really start to diminish. So warm and wet to start off the month of March. As we head later into the month of March, it's going to stay warm, and I still think we'll see plenty of rain chances, at least early this spring. Now, let's talk then about a little bit into the longer period. What can we expect? As you know, we've been in an El Nino. It's been termed many things, the Godzilla El Nino or a Super El Nino and what have you, but the reality is it is waning. And here is just to give you an idea of what we are going into, where we're going to be headed at next for a little while here. Let me change the color on my graph. That'll help you to see it a little bit better. So here's El Nino right here, and we've peaked, and we peaked here back in November. We peaked just shy of 3. We're on a downward trend now. Here we are at the beginning of January. It was analyzed right here roughly at a 2.5 or so. But notice the trend for this. This is where we are here today. And notice the trend line here. These are different modelings. This is from the JMA model, the JAMSTEC model, Japan Meteorological Agencies. It tends to be the most accurate when dealing with this. But watch what it does is it takes this down. And by the time you get into June, you're already in the 0 line here. So you're in neutral categories. And then you're going to fade pretty quickly. And then watch this. What you've got going on is an all-out La Nina going on, and this takes you all the way to January 2018. Going to be a pretty long-term La Nina, looking like possibly a couple of years with this one, if this is indeed accurate. But certainly we're going to see a La Nina coming in the rest of the year. Well, what does that practically speaking mean for us? Well, basically, whenever you have a strong El Nino going to a La Nina so quickly, in years that we have had that in the past, usually ends up being a fairly wet spring, but it's very warm. And then by the time you get into summer, it's dry. And so we could be looking at some drought concerns in the eastern half of the nation. Now, we can't pinpoint at this point exactly where those drought locations would be. A little bit too early for that. Wherever the flooding rains come this spring, that's going to be less drought prone in the summer. But once the jet stream starts to shut down a little bit from what it has been underneath of El Nino, you're going to start to see maybe a more abnormally dry pattern shape up, and it's going to be pretty hot this summer. That's what a typical summer would look like in this kind of a pattern. We could be dead wrong on that. That's just what has happened in the past. If the past is any guide, that's something that we can expect. Of course, it's only March. We'll know a little bit more as we get closer to time about whether it's going to verify or not. But as of right now, looking pretty bleak overall as far as the outlook for the summer. Hot and dry. Certainly don't want that. You look at the SST maps, the sea surface temperatures. There you can see that. There's the strong El Nino right here. It's fading, though, as you go through the March, April, May time period. By the time you get into June, July, August, we're already starting to see that fade enough. We're starting some cool water starting to take over, and then by the time you get into September, October, November time frame, you've got an all-out La Nina coming on. It's only going to get stronger as we go in time. So, wild ride coming up this year. Think of it this way, probably a warm and wet spring from the way things are looking, or at least the first half of spring. March, maybe into April, look fairly wet for us at this point. As we head into May, that might be a little bit more of a questionable thing. But then as we head into the summer months, it's going to be fairly warm again, probably on the hot side. Rain chances going to get less and less. So that's kind of what you can expect. What about the winter? Anybody's guess at this point, but with a La Nina winter, typically it brings us more of a rain chances and around here anyway, and brings us a little bit warmer than normal. That wouldn't bode well for snow lovers next winter either. Well, sorry, it is just the way it is. We'll have to see. Some of our bigger snows have come under La Nina winters, though. That's a long way off. We'll deal with that when we get there. But it looks like an interesting ride coming up, either way you look at it. All right, folks, just one thing to really quickly mention. We are looking for advertisers here at Southern Indiana Weather. If you're interested in sponsoring this video or any of the other things that we do onto our Facebook page or on our website, we've got some great rates. Shoot me an email, southerninwx@gmail.com for details. Packages start either way at just $3.95 for an entire year of advertising. Shoot me an email, and I will get you some prices. All right, folks, that is it. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Get ready for the rains next week, folks. They are coming.